Well, good afternoon or good evening, should I say, or when is it officially evening? I forget what time it is, but close enough, right? And welcome to this wonderful special product presentation by me. I'm going to be playing on the fabulous Prestige Plus. I'll tell you about the Prestige Plus in a little bit because there's a Prestige and there's a Prestige Plus. And anyway, you may not have heard about the Plus, some of you. Maybe you have. We're going to open up with a fun little number here for you, kind of get our blood flowing here with a style of music. Les Brown and his band of renown. Oh, thank you, thank you. Hold the applause, please, please. Stop it. Too much, too much. Oh boy. Well, I tell you, I am. That was fun. The reason why I'm ready to hear me play today is because I haven't played all day today, so I've been itching. And I'm playing on the fabulous Lowry Prestige Plus. Now, some of you may have a Prestige. You're going to see something very similar between the two, and then towards the end, you'll see some of the extra little goodies. But what the Prestige Plus is, it's basically taking everything that's great about the Prestige and then taking some of the goodies off of the Elite models and adding it to the Plus. And I'll get to that in a little bit. But the one thing about the Prestige Plus that you'll notice from that angle, first of all of the flagship models have these gorgeous cabinets on it. And this is actually, if you ever had a chance to see one up close, I would always say just walk over and put your hand on it and feel it. And you could feel that it is a very well put instrument cabinet-wise. They come in two different colors. The oaks are a little harder to find. And then this beautiful cherry, and they're done with what's called a steam bent process and what have you. But the beautiful thing about this, a lot of people don't realize, is the profile distance, which is the distance between here and the rack extender or here, is actually 2 inches lower than all of the models prior to this. And even if there's a model like a Fanfare or Journey or some of our medium-sized instruments, even though the cabinet is slightly taller, the music is actually lower. And they've done that by doing a few different changes on the instruments. The presets are right above the keys here. The tabs are angled in a way, the panel's angled. And the other thing that's really nice is that the roll tops, of course, you got to have a roll top. And then they have these handles here that you can just lift up, and it very easily rolls. The rack extender, of course, for those who need it. This is actually the closest that you've ever made a rack extender. So instead of having the music up here, you can bring it down to here. And I guess they could have made it a little bit closer, but then it would be a chin rest, and that might not be fun. But this is the closest they can make it, and you can still see the panel and get the use of the panel on the touch screen. And of course, when I'm not using it, the electricity, it's called the transfer electricity, transfers to the music lights up here. So some really clever things. You know, since I'm on this topic, I'm going to darken the room a little bit here. And you'll notice that what's also cool about these is that you can actually control the panel lighting to make it as bright or as soft, depending on how our eyes need to be adjusted. So anyway, one of the things you're going to hear about today, and I might say this a lot, is the term signature style. Now, show of hands, does anybody know what a signature style is? Okay, it's a good thing my staff member raised their hands. A signature style basically means this. In layman's terms, it's a style of music that when you put the introduction, it's designed perfectly for a song. Okay? So, but it's also a style that was chosen that can be played multiple ways, so you're not stuck playing that song. So you have the ability to play hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other songs with it as well. But if you play the song that it's designed for, it's perfect. Now, I'll give you an example. I'm going to play the unforgettable music of Nat King Cole. And there's a style here that's cleverly titled Unforgotten. Okay? And I'm going to use music, easy play music. I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay, so you see the C's, the D's, the G's. And I'm going to play the song from beginning to end as I see it. Okay? And I'm not going to do any fill-ins or anything like that. And here's what you're going to notice. First thing you'll notice is in the introduction. The introduction is just like the song Unforgettable. It's like the full arrangement. And as I'm playing the song, you're going to notice a few things happening here, and this is just absolutely amazing. And I'll touch on some of these again. First thing you're going to hear is as I play the melodies, I might purposely let go at times so you could hear the fills that are done automatically in the background. The other thing you're going to notice, I'm going to start on the upper keyboard and transfer to the lower keyboard. We have now the ability to do up to 15 harmonies here, or 15 different harmonies here that are automatically chosen, or I can manually do it. So it's going to start off with a beautiful full sound with an AOC, and down here it's going to give me like a block harmony with this beautiful saxes. But all in all, basically all I did was I selected Unforgotten. I'm going to use my intro, and I'm just going to play the song as I see it. I'm going to start here and go here. Everything else is happening automatically and seamlessly. Listen. wonderful? Wow, those people in there, they just really know how to applaud. So I had these gorgeous organ sounds and the string blend with a harmony, the saxophone with a nice touch of strings and harmony. The fill-ins were all done automatically, and all those fills, you could see what was happening. It was just absolutely fantastic. Now, let's talk about presets for a little bit. And I'm going to, since I see Miranda and Irina, you have to remind me later on, don't forget to mention a bonus preset option later on. So if I forget, you have to remember, okay? But I'm going to talk about what's in the instrument first. Because there are, if you did the math, there are 216 styles, and every one of those styles has 11 rhythm presets times 2, that's 22 rhythm presets. 22 rhythm presets times 216 is a lot. That's over 200, 2,000, probably 4,300, 4,400 presets. And then there are category presets, and you're going to hear some of these in just a moment. But when you think in terms of 4,000, 5,000 presets, my gosh, that's so many presets. No one will ever learn every preset, nor will they ever use every preset. However, I can teach you in a matter of seconds, folks. By the press of a button, you know how to access every one of those 4,000 or 5,000 presets and know what they are. And here's how it works. Over to the left here, if you ever see me playing and I reach over and I press this, if you see me pressing this button, I'm pressing a button called preset number 4, but what it does is it activates the screen, a feature called preset info. Now, some of the models have this feature, but when the Prestige was introduced, this system, by the way, is still used to this day on even the Aria, the last model that Lowry made, the most expensive. And what it does is it tells me every single sound that's on the top and the bottom. So, for example, if I come over and I choose a style, let's say I want to do some country music, or maybe I want to do some Latin music. We'll do some Latin music with this new Latin big band featuring Tito Puentes. And as I'm playing, I want to use the presets in the instrument, but I don't want to guess what's there before I get there. So what I'm going to do is press 4, and I look on the screen, and now it tells me every single sound that's on 1 through 10 on the upper and lower. So right now it says number 1, actually we'll do 0, it says guitar and big band sound. Number 1 has a clarinet and a saxophone. 4 is strings and violins, etc. So the window is telling me all of this. So I'm going to feature this new style here, and then another little trick as I'm doing it, using this virtuoso. You saw me using it earlier, and it's really great. You just use it anytime you want, and you get these beautiful arpeggios. Listen. Choose another preset here, and I'm just looking at my screen. Oh, let's see, number 6. Now you can choose it on the screen or here. It says trumpet and guitar. Let's see what we get. That's fun. Well, I'm having a good time. I hope you are too. Now, staying on presets here. So, rhythm presets are fabulous because whenever you choose a style of music, big band, country, a different country, a Latin, what have you, this is setting it up 22 different ways for that one style. So it's impossible to get bored with all the combinations. But those are designed to only work with the style, which is great. So what Lowry did is they put extra presets, and they called them bank presets and category presets. Now, a lot of you should be familiar with this. I believe they're on most of the models that are represented here today. The bank presets are nice because there's some built-in great organ sounds or what have you, some strings ensembles, but they can also be customized. Then you have category presets. In this case, I have theater, country, big band, and I'm going to get into some of the others. And those are great for categories. However, I always instruct students, if you like the big band category sounds, there's nothing wrong with using the big band category with a Latin rhythm. You can interchange those. But Lowry did something very clever on here, and they gave us what's called a new sound on the 0 position. You're going to hear just some of these. And this is where I'm going to turn off all the gadgets and just kind of show some of these by themselves. This is kind of fun. First of all, if I push C0 and I don't push a number, I get a beautiful church organ sound. This was actually sampled from a church organ in Chicago. And this is different than most of the church organ sounds you would see. Or this new, what they call the tremolo strings. Now, the tremolo strings is kind of clever because a lot of us do it. We have to manually do it by wiggling our fingers. You got to wiggle your fingers really fast. Here, it does it automatically. Watch. Woo! Yes, I like to cheat. And then, of course, they took the scat vocals to a new level. Instead of just your regular scat, they have now the scats that actually do more syllables. It's like they got a little more educated. And if you hold the note just a little longer, it'll actually dow. Down. And of course, for those of you, this is before your time, but anybody know the name Glenn Miller? Show of hands.
Show of hands.
You know who Glenn Miller? Glenn Miller was that guy back in the big band era. They put a sound on dedicated to one of his band members. He had a musician by the name of Ray Anthony that went on to have his own band and orchestra, and his sound was very different and unique compared to the Glenn Miller sound, and they put that smooth and mellow brass sound. The country, I love this country sound because for the first time we now can play the note without having to use the glide. The note bends on the keys. Watch. Now, I grew up playing the guitar, and it took me years to learn to do this. And when I saw this feature on this instrument, at first I was excited, but then I got mad very fast too, because then I thought, now everybody can do what I worked so hard to do over the years. And the easiest way to explain it is think about a guitar. You know, if this was the neck of a guitar, you would, all right, the guitar player would play chords and what have you. You're strumming. A guitar player, depending on the key that they're playing in, they would lightly put their fingers on the fret, but not press down. And they would just rest the finger on, but it only worked at certain parts on the guitar and to give what we call this real pretty harmonic effect. Okay? And you had to really be good to know to do this, because if you did it in a wrong key, it would sound bad. Sound like the person didn't know what key they were playing in. And what Lowry did is they put that effect on the instrument that it works all the time seamlessly and automatically without me having to think. So listen, I have this beautiful flamenco guitar, and then they have the sound. They call it ping on here. Now watch, I'm going to play the notes softly. Sounds like a good guitar sound. If you strike the note just a little harder, and you don't have to hit it hard, just enough, it does the effect. So while you're playing, it automatically does it for you. You don't have to worry about what's the right way, wrong way. You just do it, and it automatically does it for you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, isn't that cool? All right. Now, I've got to play another one of my favorite styles on here. This is really cool. These signature styles that just blow your mind away. So, when I first heard this style and they told me that it was a polka, I thought, well, that can't be. I don't think the Beatles ever had a polka. I always thought of the band The Beatles, rock and roll and rock ballads of that era. But they were very clever in the way they wrote their songs. Sometimes they wrote songs. This happens to be a polka, but I don't know that anybody classified it as a polka. But if you listen to it, it's actually a polka beat. So the style is called obladi polka. But here's how I'll prove that it works as a polka. Because when you listen to this, if you're familiar with the song Obladi Oblada, this is going to sound just like it. It's another one of these signature styles. And I'll play Obladi Oblada. But to test that it'll work with a polka, start playing a polka and let's see what happens. Are you ready? Yep, that's perfect. Now let's just pick a different polka here. Here we go. Frankie Yankovic. Isn't that cool? Oh, yes, thank you. But wait, there are more presets in this instrument. You know why I love presets so much? It's like having recipes, only I don't have to go through all the prep work and getting the ingredients and then gonna put a half pinch of this, get that. Oh gosh, I forgot this one ingredient. Got to go to the grocery store. It's like a recipe book, and then you push it, and it's automatically made for you. So you heard some great category presets. You heard some great bank presets. There's some more category presets that I absolutely love, and this was really clever because The button panel is identical to the previous models and what have you, the Prestige, the Legends, the Stardust, and these zero positions give you all of these. So I'm going to go to one here, and when I touch this one, it automatically gives me Louis Armstrong's trumpet. Wouldn't that go great for the song What a Wonderful World? Boy, if we only had that style. Hold that thought. And then if I go to the lower keyboard, I get Louis, where he really jazzed it up a little bit. And if you hold the note, it automatically shakes it. Whew. Whew, I'm having fun. Isn't that great? Now, let's talk about presets some more, because I just love presets. There are all these great sounds. If you ever wonder how we sound so good when we play, it's not so much our skill, it's having category presets and category presets. And there's a category here, there's a whole other page of sounds, from those who love the gorgeous organ tones to some beautiful smooth organ tones to musics around the world. Or we have this new grand piano on here. It must be very expensive because in the screen it has some dollar signs on it. And what's really great, isn't that pretty? Now, let's talk about Plus for a moment. So I'm going to take you back a couple years, and I'll give you the short version. Obviously, in the beginning of January, February, March of 2020, it was the beginning of this thing where we're living with on our day-to-day lives, right? And the pandemic. But there's a lot of other things that were significant. About a year and a half before that or so, Lowry announced that they weren't making organs anymore. The pandemic came in. We ran out of top-of-the-line models to sell. We were running out of them. We were thinking, until we build another model or two, we need to have instruments with the capability so it would be appealing to the consumer to want to upgrade. So, long story short, we got one of the designers involved in this, and what he was able to do was take the platform of the Prestige, that was already great, and take some of the goodies from the flagship models and add it to this instrument. So, as an example, earlier I played What a Wonderful World, but without a rhythm. Years ago, there was a style that was introduced called Wonderful World. And it was originally introduced on the Imperial, which is an $80,000 instrument, was the retail. And then subsequently all of the larger models, and then some of the other instruments had them as well, and it was nice. But what was unique on the larger models, they give you the actual full arrangement, the whole full symphonic arrangement. And on the smaller models, they gave you a little bit of that, a taste of that, so it sounded very similar, but it wasn't the actual full arrangement. So when you hear this, you're going to hear the actual um, style that was taken from the Lowry Imperial and the Sterling and the Patriot. And the style is simply called Wonderful World. And on this instrument, we have a button here called Prestige Plus. And when I touch it, it gives me access to all of these styles that were programmed on it from the larger models. Listen. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, so much fun with that. Now, some of you, I believe, or you should be, hopefully, are familiar with the feature called the song setup. Just a couple little things they've done here. It was really cool. The song setup now has an option. The keypad here, you can actually search for them alphabetically, or you could search for the rhythm styles alphabetically. So if I wanted that style, I could put on my alphabet and type in W and get to it. If I'm looking for a certain song setup, like Moonlight Serenade, I just touch alphabet keypad and I touch M and brings me right to that. Having the touchscreen, for those of you who have this, is wonderful. But what they've done with the touchscreen is now you can search for those alphabetically. And I'm going to search for a style here that I really love that was introduced on an instrument called the Liberty, actually, for the first time. And the Liberty, when it was introduced, we had it retailed for nearly $80,000. And this style is a lot of fun. I remember back when I started at Fletcher Music Centers, and it was in 1993. There it is. And when I started, now depending on who you ask, my hair was like to about here. Now keep in mind I was a guitar player in a rock and roll band, and I played guitar and played blues and classic rock and things like that. But depending on who you ask, my hair was actually down to my knees or my butt. The story grew over time. It's like, oh yeah, he started, it was here, then it was down to his. I was like, wow. But anyway, so coming from that kind of background, I was open to a lot of music, but I was not very knowledgeable of the music. And in the 90s, we were featuring music of the 20s, 30s, and 40s because our average age student was in their 80s. So you got, that's the music that we were featuring. So when I came aboard and they said, you better learn some Glenn Miller music, and I was like, who? Who's that? And they're like, are you kidding? And they named all of these names from the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and the 50s too. And anyway, so one of the musicians that I really um, started to like as I was listening to the music was Pete Fountain. Pete Fountain played the clarinet, and he did a lot of Dixieland, New Orleans style music. And back in those days, in the early 90s, Andrew probably remembers, before iPods and CDs and YouTube, you didn't have a computer. You can go somewhere and find a song. We had to go out and buy a cassette. And I know I'm preaching to choir back in, back in our day, we had to use records. Point is we had to spend money. I had to spend money to buy a cassette, listen to the song so I could hear what these songs sounded like. But, I had to spend a lot of money to learn one song. And I came across this cassette with Pete Fountain, this recording of Just a Closer Walk with Thee. And he did it in this really classy New Orleans style. It wasn't your typical gospel. And I just fell in love with it. So every now and then when I get to play the song, I use this style. The style is called Nolan's Pianist. Turn up my drummer here. And you're going to hear Pete Fountain in here, and it's just absolutely perfect for this song. Here we go. Thank you. Now, Miranda, you're in luck because I remembered what I was going to ask you to remind me. So you don't have to remind me now. I'm going to go to my computer here and I'm going to screen share something. I keep talking about presets. To me, the more presets you have, the more chances you have at sounding great all the time, okay? And what I'm going to show you, and I'll explain it. Let's see, put this up here, is what we have. Now, let's see, Gloria, just a thumbs up. Can you see what's on the screen? Just go like that, thumbs up. Okay, so you all can see that. What this is, it's it's called the Prestige Plus Super Collection. And what this is, it's a collection of arrangements designed, as it says, for hobby players. Each group of presets contain 10 amazing setups, so take your hobby to the next level. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them, but you'll see. What it is when I load this in on a USB, because there's so many, there's actually a 4 USB collection. Nat King Cole, for example. Now, this is different than what's already built in the instrument. This is in addition to. So if I load in Nat King Cole, I will get 10 different great settings that work great for that style of music. The Beatles, Benny Goodman, 10 great setups. Each one of these has 10. If that wasn't enough, there's 49 groups on this one. There's an additional 49 or 50 on that one. There's an additional 47 on that one, and then there's an additional 15. So every one of these, when I load them in, I get an additional 10 different setups. And it's very simple and easy to use. I take a USB like this, just a regular USB, and I put it into the instrument, and I just touch USB and load. Okay? And then the list will show up like you saw on the screen. I have the second list here. And let me just see. I'm going to select one that catches my, first one that catches my swinging Dixie. So I don't know what that means, but I'm going to put it in and just start playing. I'm going to touch swinging Dixie. I'm going to load all my presets. And then all I have to do is press A1 and an intro, and away we go. And I get 10 great settings. These are 10 additional settings to the thousands that are there. I'm going to touch custom 4 so I can see what sound I'm going to get. Oh, well, I hope you're enjoying this. Are you enjoying the show so far?
Oh, yes.
All right. Well, over 1,600 presets, and I'll talk to you about that in a moment. Generally, a rule of thumb is there are a lot of artists over the years, they don't make their living by selling organs. So when they sell presets, they usually charge $1 a preset. It was kind of like a rule of thumb for many years. $1,600 worth of presets there. Why is that significant? Well, it's rare that we do this, but if there is anybody ever interested in an instrument like this, I'm going to tell you, let your staff members know, because I will include that super collection, the presets for the Prestige Plus at no additional charge with the purchase of a Prestige Plus. That's called enticing you. So anyway, with that said, I'm going to finish off my last number here. And I hope you're enjoying this presentation of today's Prestige Plus. And I'm going to finish up with a style here that was originally done on the I want to say the Lowry Patriot. And I want you to get a close-up of this. So here we go. Spotlight. Okay. And I'm going to use music. And there is a style here that was simply labeled Your Way. So this is another one of those signature styles. And as you can imagine, I'm going to play the song My Way using the style Your Way. And I'm going to close off this presentation with this wonderful song. And I'm just using simply the rhythm preset that's built right into the instrument. Here we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Holy applause. Thank you so much. Well, we hope you enjoyed that presentation today. And did I do okay?
I think so.
Did you say I did great?
Fantastic.
Oh, that's what I thought you said. I'll stop the recording right there and we'll leave on that. We'll stop it right